Alright, so today we're gonna take a look at some of the best items that will trivialize lethal difficulty. Pretty much one-shotting targets, making things a lot easier for you, and also a build guide that I was in the middle of creating for some of these setups, charms, and other very cool items. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Now, this build is going to focus purely on being a glass cannon. Defenses literally do not matter on the lethal difficulty, since you're going to be getting one or two shotted anyways, even with the best charms out there, so it doesn't matter. It also works on lower difficulties, by the way, but as you can see, we're just going to be grouping up a whole bunch of enemies, the whole camp basically, and once they're in a nice tight spot like this, we're just gonna go crazy with the kunais, one shot everything or two shot left and right. Plus we have the advantage of being able to recuperate some of the fallen kunais with some of these builds, and depending on how we build around this, we can also have a lot more enemy weapons dropping that will also be part of the build. So let me show you the setup. We have two options in terms of the armor, either the Nine-Tail armor if you want to go for pure kunai damage, or the Spider Lily version if you want more AoE. Well, in this case that would be more AoE stagger, as well as even more enemy weapons dropping on the battlefield if you want to throw a lot more of those. Either of these could work just great, and both of them can fit sort of an assassin build if you want to, but obviously Nine-Tail is a lot better. I'll show you how to get all of these items and the charms in just a little bit, but besides these, for the charms we're gonna go with the hidden blades and the burning blades. Obviously these two will let you now throw up to 5 kunais at 5 distinct enemies that will also burn, so they will deal damage over time and also are unstoppable. Besides this charm of uncanny aim, this is going to further increase our quick fire weapon damage, so this is going to include kunais as well. One very special addition here is the charm of generous opponents, chances to recover quick fire ammo when looting the dead, so this is going to give us a lot more of the kunais back. Now it's not going to be super consistent and you're still going to likely need to look out for other stashes, but it does help a ton to clear more than what you normally can. As far as the items go, if you want to get all of the ones for today's build, yeah, the Nine-Tail armor is given to you automatically via the Kitsune questline. For the Spider Lily armor, you need to complete the Spider Lily General Mythic Tail that you can find and start here at the Mysterious Gate over in Tokachi Range. Do keep in mind that you need to find 4 keys to unlock the main door before the final encounter, so I posted a video about this before. For the kunai plus the charm of Hidden Blade and the charm of Burning Blades, you get these by just helping Hana up here at Teshu Ridge by completing the winter farms, including the follow-up one, during which you have to liberate 5 additional farms. Then is when you also get the charms. Meanwhile, for the charm of Uncanny Aim, you're going to get this from the Lakeview Fox Den on the side of the map in the grasslands. Following the fox will eventually give you the Uncanny Aim. You can also get the charm of generous opponents by heading over to the Clearwater Fox Den further up north on this side of the map. Again, pretty easy, and it's going to give it to you right at the end. Now, besides this, we also want that two-faced cursed mask. Like I said before, this is going to improve the damage that we deal from all sources at the cost of increasing all the damage that we receive as well. However, on lethal difficulty, that literally doesn't matter. The debuff doesn't really change anything since you get 1 or 2 shotted anyway, so at that point your best course of action, if we're talking purely about the lethal difficulty, is to immediately buff your damage. If you take down enemies much quicker, that means they pose much less of a problem. So that's why we're going with this, but like I said, it should be the case for any build on lethal difficulty. For lower level difficulties, I recommend taking this out and swapping it for something that helps you with melee damage instead. In that case, you would be playing with something a bit more like a hybrid. Also, for the mask that gives you that cursed power, you will get this randomly by buying it from the traveling merchant that you can randomly spawn at Otaru Beach. For this, just spam your camp and hope that it actually gets to you, and then go ahead and buy it. By default, it's about 1,000 mon, but some of you guys told me that he can reduce the price eventually if you come back at a later date. Now, another very good charm for the lethal difficulty is the one of Enduring Resolve. This is going to make your abilities that consume spirit to have a major chance at level 3 to regain that one spirit back, which works really great with our Mountain Breaker on the Odachi, but other abilities similar to it work really great too. Reason for this is on lethal, I have a build right now where I can spam my Odachi and basically one-shot the targets, plus with the mask, of course. So in this case, the more resolve I have, the more I can spam it, the more enemies I instantly take down, and I'm unstoppable and immune to most of the damage during that whole animation. Like, lethal in this case is just completely brutal compared to Tsushima, so this helps a ton. If you want to go ahead and grab it, there is actually a way to get it. It's going to be from a fox den over here on this side of the map called the Twin Path Fox. At the end of it, you're going to get it. I will also have to say that perfect parries and perfect dodges also become a lot more important on lethal, since that's going to be one of the main ways to protect yourself. Point at which having a charm of Futsunushi may be very important. Besides the armors like the Undying or the Bounty Master, this one makes your perfect parries and perfect dodges easier to perform, and it's really going to make a difference when you stack it with either of those two armors. If you want to grab it, you're going to need to head over to the Faithful Leap Shrine on this side of the map. This is going to be rather easy, it takes a couple of minutes, but it's going to be worth it for any difficulty, but especially lethal. You've also seen me setting targets on fire and how useful it is in group situations. Well, actually that's given by the charm of Fire Mastery, which kinda makes a return from the previous game, so it lets us spread some of our fire to nearby enemies. It's not quite as good as it used to be in Tsushima, but still very useful because only fire makes your weapons unstoppable, and you can also distract nearby targets, which on lethal difficulty is exactly what you need. Literally, they will swarm you so much compared to before that you really need another way to distract them or keep them busy. If you want this, you can just go ahead at the Ishikari Market. There's going to be a gambling den in the area, and if you win the second round, they are going to give you that really awesome charm to use. Now, if you're not planning to go with the lethal difficulty and instead want something a bit more fair and keep it to the hard difficulty, then I highly encourage you to get the charm of Mount Yotei. Not only does this give you a moderate amount of damage reduction, but also gives you a massive amount of healing when you perform a perfect parry. So you get this from the 5 reliquaries, by the way. There is one for each of the maps. So here's the one in the grasslands. There's also one in Tokachi Range on this side of the map. Another one a little bit up north to Ishikari Plains on the side of the map very close to the river, and there's also a special one up north in one of the locations that's only accessible via a jumping mini puzzle called the Chilled Peak Shrine. So that's the one that you actually have to take. And there's also the one down south on the side of the map, almost close to the entrance in the area at the Reliquary of Faith. There are already guides online how to complete these, and each of the puzzle challenges are not too difficult, but once you do complete it, that's going to give you both the charm of Mount Yotei as well as all of the upgrades you need for it. Now, obviously, there are some downsides to this build, one of which is that you need a heavy investment into just buffing one ability, which is basically your kunai. So in this case, if you don't like that and you want to go back to maybe using weapons, again, we have those 2 extra slots that can help. Another disadvantage, I would say, is the fact that you're not always going to be running with maxed out ammo count, so you do need to retrieve some extra kunais during combat. So this is either going to be via the fallen enemies, via the charm that actually gives that, or by just getting some of these kunais you find laying around the camps, usually close to any ammo pouches or anything similar to that. It's also good to note that in boss fights, specifically ones relating to the main story, for example, some of the one-on-one boss duels or even some of the more tougher enemies can eventually deflect some of these kunais. I haven't seen that happening too often, like super rare, but even when you have them set on fire, they still somehow deflect some of these kunais. But only if you completely spam them a lot, so at that point maybe just go in with an attack. You definitely have a lot of spirit spirit generation here too, so you can spam your abilities very well, especially since we do use the Enduring Resolve charm, which is going to generate and at the very least give us the possibility to regenerate our resolve when we spend it. Anyway, that pretty much concludes today's video. Do let me know down below in the comments if there's any other different combination you are using with this setup, maybe a different charm or whatnot. In the meantime, there's gonna be a bigger video with the top builds for the lethal and the hard difficulty dropping really soon, pretty much tomorrow. So if you want to see more of that, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.